This is a very old and very sorry looking corn grinder, manual corn grinder. It even comes complete with a piece of the bench that it was on. We can see the moss has been growing on the wood, and we also have some big 6-inch nails there still stuck in the wood. This was designed for making basically animal feed, so the corn would be dried and then fed into there. My name's Stuart, many thanks for joining, and today we're going to restore this maize or corn grinder. This is the other side. You can see the hand crank, plenty of rust, and I doubt if those bolts will come out very well. We can see the wooden handle is missing from the crank. I'm going to start now to disassemble. I don't think it's a great big massive job. Don't really know what the string was for. Pretty rusty spring there. There's the wooden handle broken inside there, so that will have to make a new one of those. Just applying a bit of anti-seize onto these bolts. I'm still got my doubts whether they'll come out very well. This shaft, I don't know how the hell that's going to come out. I'm now going to attempt to remove this piece of wood. It's got some kind of nail through it. I thought it was going to be easy to remove, but it's not. Thought I could give it a whack with a hammer, that will probably work, but you'll see in a minute it didn't. So I'm using a cold chisel to try and break my way through the nail. This bit of wood flies off and knocks over my mug of tea. Now this is unbelievable. I don't believe that this shaft is turning. I was expecting this to be a nightmare. But look, maybe because it's sloppy and it's not a very high tolerance fit in there, so it didn't rust together. That's a big surprise. Here's where I get myself into some trouble. I'm trying to keep the bolts. I don't want to destroy the bolts. I'm trying to undo it. I'm now heating up the nut, see if I can dislodge it with heat. But it's actually, I'm wasting my time because it's not actually going to work very well. All I'm going to do is mess up the head on the bolt, which I don't really want to do. So I'll come back to that in a minute. A bit more anti-seize. This winds off, no trouble. It's on a thread. Pretty rusty, all this stuff. This is the shaft. I mean, I'll be able to clean it up, but I won't be able to clean it up perfectly. Not without removing so much metal. This is the solution I came up with to remove the nuts. It's called a nut splitter. It basically just deforms and breaks the nut away from the bolt. so then you don't destroy the bolt. I think I need a couple of attempts on this one. You can see I've deformed it, but it needs a bit more. There you see, easy to remove it now. These are the support bolts. I've speeded it up a little bit because it's not worth watching it all again. But I've done the same thing. I've just used a nut splitter. This again needs to be cleaned up. We can see the cavity where the corn gets fed into. Now we can see the whole thing dismantled. We can see the broken handle, or the wooden handle, and all the pieces basically covered in rust. I'm going to start with this piece. I don't think it matters where I start. I'm just putting it now into the shot blaster to give it a clean up. And this is about an 80 mesh grit. I get the feeling a little bit that I'm trying to make a silk purse out of a pig's ear, but anyway, I'm filling up this area at the top in the mouth of the machine where it's been heavily corroded, so I'm using some filler. So we'll let that dry and then sand it off later. You can see now we'll just sand it off. Please like and subscribe, and of course if anyone's got any comments I'd be pleased to receive them. I don't really have many doubts. This machine would have been used by people that grow the corn, the special corn for animal feed. It's not the one we're used to, which is sweet corn. They grow that and then they dry it, and then when they need it they feed it through this machine for their animals. It would just be somebody that has a few animals at home, I'm guessing. I'm just going to start this plate. This is the attack plate, the one that actually removes the corn from the cob, we call it, I think. So I'm just running it through the shot blasting machine now, and you can see that it's coming up reasonably well. This is the axle for the machine. It's actually a lot more corroded than you can see. It's quite deeply pitted. So I'm not going to be able to take it back to absolutely perfect. Otherwise I'll be removing too much metal from it. I'm just using some emery cloth here on the lathe. It's got a nice bright finish, you can see. So that's that bit done for the moment. Now I need to look at these washers and spring. They're not in a very good condition. So basically I'm going to shot blast them to give them a uniform finish. The purpose of this spring and the washers is to adjust the grinding face depending on the size of the corn. And then when I've finished shot blasting them, I'm going to put them into a vapor blast machine. It gives it a little bit more of a finer finish. Or a vapor honer, they often call them. This is a machine that uses water pumped up from a bucket, and it's got abrasive, glass abrasive in the bucket, fine abrasive, and you basically fire compressed air through the pistol, so it speeds the whole thing up. I've decided to chemically black these parts. So this is a blacking system that doesn't use heat. It basically uses it's an oxidating process, but it turns it black. It's quite acceptable. I personally prefer oil blacking, hot oil blacking, but with some components you can't really do it, especially a spring. All you have to do is paint this material on, this chemical, and then leave a thin film of oil on it for a while. You can see what I'm doing here, but just putting the oil on it. So the spring and washer are basically done now. I just need to look at the crank handle now. I need to remove the old spindle for the crank. It's basically not repairable, so I'm making another one. Sorry about the awkward angle of this photograph. I seem to have mucked something up with the camera. I'm just going to straighten this. This is the crank handle, or the crank, and I've now removed the handle, as you saw. So this had got a bit distorted over the years. So just bringing it back into straight lines. This is the support. I think it's what they use to basically screw the machine to some wood or something. Just shot blasting it. So there's the crank handle shot blasted, and that support bracket. So we've now reached a point where mostly this is all cleaned up. So now I'm going to do something sneaky. I'm taking these bits and I'm taking them to an industrial premises where I've got a brand new water curtain for painting. So I thought I might as well do it there. And then what I'm doing now is brazing a nut. It's a rounded off nut which is brazed. I'm brazing it onto the hand crank. So that's where my new spindle will go. It will screw into here. So now you can see the water curtain for painting. So I'm just making the most of that. And I've decided to paint this whole machine this blue colour. Hope you like it. I don't know. There wasn't any way to determine the colour which it would have been when it was bought new. You know, I'm estimating that this corn grinding machine is probably about 100 years old, or maybe 80, something like that. Right, now we're doing something else. What we're going to do is we're going to make a new wooden handle for this machine. So what I've done is I've basically drilled a hole through the centre. Once I've got the hole through the centre, then I can machine the outside so that it's concentric to the centre hole. That's the most important thing. And then I can also do some other machining. Now I've got the thing concentric. I need to make some little boring on each end. You can see that bore there. When I've done the two bores, I can then shape the outside of the handle. I can shape it so that it's concentric to that centre hole. I'm just trying the screw that will go in there, which will hold that in place. You know, I'm just rough machining this. Now I'm doing this with like a wood turning effect. This is a chisel. It's actually a file that's been sharpened, and it's got a rest. I'm resting it on a piece of metal, just to give the file the handle its shape and form. And afterwards I'll sand it and sand it with some different grades of paper. Just giving it a varnish now. I did actually give it a couple of coats, and I gave it a little bit of a sanding. This is the new spindle I've got. What I did, I brazed a nut onto there and then machined it down. I mean, it's not a very complicated thing. So you'll see that screws into the hand crank, and at the other end I made a thread, a female thread, for this screw to go in. So this should hold all the wooden handles together, or hold it in place while it rotates. Now we can see the painted parts. I think they look good. And there's the wooden handle. What we're going to do now is to chemically oil black these screws. They're round-headed screws, M8. And then these are the original screws with a countersunk slot. Oh, and this I made a big mistake. I made it out of stainless steel by mistake, and obviously it won't blacken. It doesn't matter, just keep it in stainless. So this is the little spindle that I've made for where the wooden handle will rotate. I'm oil blackening the main, I called it an axle, but it's a shaft really, shaft axle. So now you can see that chemically blackened is now finished. Now we're basically finished, everything's completed. It'll just need now some assembly and a demonstration. Just to screw the shaft back into this grinding plate. Obviously I've got new nuts here, not the original ones, because they were obviously deformed and broken to get them off. I mean, you can tell how old it is by the slotted screws. I mean, nobody makes slotted screws anymore, as far as I know. See, this shaft doesn't really fit in a very precision way. It just serves a purpose to rotate the piece. Doesn't really matter, it's only a grinding corn. Pop that split pin in there. And that's the famous stainless steel screw that wouldn't oil black because it was stainless. So now we can see the handle rotates. And now we can see the whole thing assembled. It wasn't much of a job to assemble it, not many pieces. In general, I'm happy with this restoration. I think it's an awful lot better than it was when we saw it at the beginning. Yeah, that's how it was at the beginning. Now for our demo. That you saw was absolutely hard as rock, totally dry. We're going to grind off the corn pieces, and you can see, look, it's rotating the corn and grinding them off. Absolutely works a treat, and I'm very happy with that. I've actually ground out 3 of them, and the corn's all over the floor. You'll see it in a minute. Works marvellously. You know, call me picky, but I think I prefer a pepper steak to this. Thanks for watching.